What up, everyone? Welcome to your favorite podcast, Chiquis and Chill. I know there are a lot of podcasts out there, so I do appreciate from the bottom of my heart that you come back each week to listen, to learn, to grow, and to glow together. And sometimes I just want to hop on the mic and talk about stuff that's bothered me for a very long time. And this is one of those episodes. In our culture, I'm sure you've heard the saying, Calladita te ves más bonita, or you look so much prettier when you're quiet. And it's something I've heard most of my life, and it's something I cannot with. So we're going to talk about it because it is something that I don't agree with. So let's start off with why I wanted to talk about this topic. Calladita te ves más bonita is something I've heard quite a bit as a child, as a teenager, as a singer, and I'm sure you guys have heard it quite a bit as well. And for a long time, I didn't question it. I just lived it. I was like, okay, I stayed quiet. And even in my household, we've talked about it here, that we weren't really, or I wasn't really allowed to give my opinion in our household until I was a little bit older. But for a long time, it was, I'm the mother, I'm the parent, and what I say goes. And I get that. Yes. Mom's rules, her household. Yes. But sometimes it's okay to say, but mom, this kind of hurt my feelings, or this makes me feel this way. And that wasn't really a choice in our household. So I think that's where it started. And as I got older, there were a few times in my life where I was told not to give my opinion, my unsolicited opinion. And I did that for a long time. I stayed quiet. I didn't express what I felt. And it was because I was afraid of the disapproval or the disappointment, the people pleasing. That's part of people pleasing. Again, we've talked about that a lot on the podcast. And I think it has to do with this saying. It's like, wait, what do you mean I'm not allowed, or I shouldn't speak my mind because I am a young lady and young ladies just stay quiet and just supposed to sit there and look pretty? Yeah, no, that's not happening in my life anymore. I am going to let you know how I feel. And even if that means disappointing a few people, that's okay, because we need to speak our truth. And for a long time, it's been like this unspoken message of don't question, don't challenge, don't speak up, don't disrupt the peace. It's cultural, guys, as well. Well, yeah, because it's in Spanish, Calladita te ves más bonita. So yes, it's like don't speak your truth. If something happened to you, like a huge one, sexual abuse. I've heard this a lot. When a child comes to their mother and says, my uncle touched me inappropriately, it's like, oh my gosh, okay, well, don't say anything, because it's like, it's going to bring shame to the family. Like, just stay quiet. And what happens to that child? She stays quiet. She grows up and becomes a very sad woman. And so many different things are happening because she has been taught to suppress and has been forced to suppress her feelings, because you're going to bring shame to the family if we say this about your uncle. What? I don't agree with that. I am so grateful that my mother believed me and did not question me, was like, okay, I have your back with this situation that happened to you with your dad, but it was never, let me protect your dad, let me protect the family name. Like, that's just so wrong. And what that does to a human being is sometimes irreparable. And it's a cultural thing of like, respect your elders. You cannot tell your abuelita anything or your uncle because they're older. It's like, but wait. And that happened in my family. When I got a little older and I started kind of stepping into my own, and I started disagreeing, even with my mom. She didn't like it, or they didn't like it. But I was like, I'm not being mean. I'm just not agreeing with you. Like, I don't agree with those actions. I don't like when you speak to me this way, because it makes me feel sad. And it was more of like, oh my gosh, she has lip and she thinks she's better. And no, I'm just speaking my truth. And what is so wrong with that? And that is something that we have been taught, especially in our culture, guys. I don't know if it happens in other cultures. I'm not exactly sure, but I know for sure that's what we have been taught. And the amount of damage it caused me personally to stay quiet for so long, the confusion it caused within, not only mentally, but emotionally, it was crazy. And I'm still undoing some of that damage because I did feel like scared to talk. And that's why on this podcast, I'm always telling you guys, have these uncomfortable conversations. I know confrontation is uncomfortable, but having these conversations, guys, are life-changing. Another saying, hablando se entiende la gente. That is very true. That I agree with. Yes, talk. They're uncomfortable, but they're necessary conversations. Speaking your truth. I always say, if you don't feel the strength or you don't feel, the courage at this moment to speak to someone in person, write them a letter, but let that out, let it out. And you're gonna feel relieved. And I also feel that this is connected to machismo because men were taught to be dominant, to lead, to speak, to be the ones that decide, to be the ones that provide. And women were taught to just adapt, to stay silent, to endure. And even I think this also takes off some pressure from men because for a long time, los hombres no lloran. It's another saying. Why not? Like, you know what I mean? Like, men have feelings too. And they should be able to cry and let it out and express their feelings. Men for a long time were taught to like, no, hombre, I don't feel anything. I don't cry. I just keep on going. I don't go to the doctor. Like, that's another thing. Like, I'm not going to go to the doctor. Like, for what? I'm a man. Like, dude, no, I think that's so toxic. Like, and even like a woman having to just put up with everything her husband does because it's going to bring shame to the family if I leave him, because I need to stand by my partner no matter what, even if he disrespects me, even if he hits me, even if he cheats on me and doesn't give me any love. What kind of life is that? That's toxic loyalty. We've talked about toxic loyalty. All of this has to do with the way that we were raised and culturally raised. So I also feel like it affects men. Like that machismo stuff is like, that needs to also just go out the window a little bit because it also causes a lot of damage to men of like how we are supposed to, or not me, because I'm not a man, right? But like how men are supposed to act. It's a lot of pressure. And there's nothing more freeing than crying. Like, like crying is I say it all the time, guys, but I feel like I repeat myself so much on the podcast, but whatever, it is what it is. These are things that I truly believe in, that like crying does help you release tension and it keeps you from getting diseases in your body. Because if you are not like releasing that, and that's why I truly believe that now people have longer lives because we're learning this and we're normalizing speaking about these things and unlearning a lot of the things that come from generations before us. And a lot of them, I feel, were more sick. I think it has to do a lot with like not releasing and not speaking up and speaking your truth, because all of that stays stagnant energy in your body, and it becomes disease. It becomes illnesses. It is what it is. It is real. I truly believe in that. Research it, guys, and you will see. So I think this is why we need to have these uncomfortable conversations and speak our mind, because it will help us and liberate us from mental imprisonment, from emotional stagnation in so many different ways. So it's not just about women, but also men. have been taught to be calladitos in other ways, or no llores, and all that is just, it's not something that I feel that we need to carry on to the next generations. It does not serve our highest good. And call me whatever you want. Call me problemática, call me difícil, respondona, call me whatever you want. But I did that for too long, guys, where I was just like, oh, I'm just, that's not ladylike. Speaking my mind isn't ladylike. I just have to like sit here and just, take it. No, I'm not. I can't do that anymore, guys. Like, if I were to tell you the confusion and the emotional turmoil I went through during those years and how much I would cry myself to sleep because I wasn't able to speak my truth or speak, like, just tell, like, give my opinion. Oh, it was so draining. It was like, oh my gosh. Now I'm like, well, I don't agree with that. I think that's not cool. And if you get mad at me, well, oh, well, that's your problem, not mine, sort of thing. You don't got to be mean, but. And another thing that sparked the idea or the desire to talk about this episode was an episode that I had with my best friend, Judy Cepeda. And it really got me thinking about all the things that women keep silent because of fear of being seen differently or bringing shame to the family, shame to the last name. That's a huge thing. It's like this pride of like, this is our last name and we have to have a boy. Even having children, it was like, I only want a boy because he's the one that's going to carry on the family legacy and all this stuff. And women would feel ashamed for having girls. And even like cultures, like in Asian cultures, I can't speak too much about that because obviously I'm not Asian, but I've heard something like that where it's like girls are seen as like less than men or boys when they're born. Like that's fucking crazy to me. Anyway, going back to Judy, it made me think of all these, of just all the things that women keep silent. And my friend, if you haven't heard that episode, go listen to it. But my friend was talking about how she just stayed in this very toxic relationship because she had seen her parents stay together. And whatever it is that her parents went through, the mom endured it and they made it through. And now they're happy. And that's great. But we have choices now. Like I would always tell my grandma, I admire women like you. I wouldn't be able to do it. And I think that is what's changing. And that's what's changing in my friend, where she's starting to realize, wait, she kind of woke up and said, oh my gosh, like I wasn't living my life. I was living the life that I thought my parents expected from me. And the amount of sadness and depression that was building up in her and what she's still undoing till this day is crazy. And I see and I speak to her all the time. And I admire her because she was really trying to do it for her kids, stayed in the relationship for her children because that's what she saw her parents do. And they got through the hard times. And she was like, I got to stick this through. Like maybe in 20 years, we'll be happy. I'm sorry. I can't do that. Like, I'm not obviously talking bad about my friend because I understand her, but I'm just saying like, la gente de antes, las mujeres de antes, the women before us, admire them so much because my grandma was with my grandpa and the only man she ever had since she was 15 until she was like 60 something. She's 70, I don't know, 6, I think now, or 8. Anyway, the point is that she stayed with my grandpa for years for her children. And she helped him build his business and was there every single day. I watched it. That business was not what it is today or what it was because of my grandpa. It was because of my grandma. And she fucking stuck it out. Like, he was unfaithful. He was abusive at one point with her, verbally and physically. She took it. She's like, I have to stay here because this is for my children. I have 6 children and this is what it is. And that's what she was like basically taught, And the only thing that made her leave was she told him, you could do anything. I'll stick it out. I'm your ride or die. But if you have a child outside of the marriage, I'm done. And that happened. And that's when she said, I'm done. But that didn't happen until I don't know how many years of marriage, 40, 50 years after all of that. Now she's a 70-something-year-old woman and she says she's happy being alone. But like, I would want her to be hugged at night and have a companion and not feel alone. Her children have grown up. They all have families of their own. And that's something that I'm like, damn, like, I respect it. It's admirable. But like, guys, she stayed quiet for so long and endured this pain by herself and probably put on a happy face for her children, or probably subconsciously took it out on her children because her husband wasn't treating her well. Like, and I almost went down that road, guys. I almost stayed in my first marriage after I was not happy. Like, not even the day of my wedding. Maybe a little bit, but like I just, not even the day of my wedding was I happy. I was like, oh my God, I'm making such a mistake, but I'm gonna do it because I already said I was gonna do it. And because the world is like, I already said it, and like blah, 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 blah. And my family's expecting it, like everything because of everyone else. And I almost stayed in that relationship because I was like, well, I don't want to be like my mom. Here we go again. I don't want to be like my mom in the sense of, I want to have a stable relationship. And I know it's not going to be easy, but like, oh, it could always be worse. We think that too. And it's like, wait, you got to really listen to that intuition and like really think and like do things. If you want to stay in that relationship because you want to stay in it for your kids and like, okay, I have an exit plan. As soon as they turn 18, I'm leaving no matter what. That's your prerogative, whatever it is that you want to do. But I just feel like we have to like honor our own happiness and honor our life because it's ours and it was given to us, and we have to honor and respect that and get out of situations that don't do that. I'm glad I got out of that first marriage because I'm experiencing something so beautiful. It's not perfect, but I knew that there is no such thing as a perfect person or a perfect marriage or relationship. Again, this is not an episode to tell you leave your husband or whatever. That's not what it is. I'm just saying, like, I don't know how it turned into this from like Bonita te ves más bonita, but I think it all goes together and it makes sense. So that's why. But anywho, guys, the point is that there is a lot of power in your voice, women. I'm speaking to you, women, okay? Men too, but there's a lot of power in our voice. There's a lot that we have to offer in this world, and we just need to feel comfortable enough to speak our truth, to say what we believe in, to stand firm on that, to not tolerate disrespect, to not tolerate being mistreated. That's not a life for anyone. And to do things on your own terms because that's what you want, not because people expect it from you or that's what you should do. Really ask yourself, am I happy? Does this bring me peace? Don't stay quiet out of fear. It's the worst thing that we could do, is staying quiet out of fear. I know that it's a lot easier said than done, but once you start practicing it, it gets easier and easier. And especially because you start feeling just so free. And that's where the real power is, guys. Feeling free to be yourself in every sense of the phrase. And don't let anyone stop you from speaking your mind. Being and staying quiet doesn't make you more beautiful. Being whole does. So I'll leave it with that. Thank you guys for listening. I am very grateful for you. And I will catch you on the next episode of your favorite podcast, Chiquis and Chill. Say it with me, Chiquis and Chill. Love you. This is a production of iHeartRadio and the My Cultura Podcast Network. Follow us on Instagram at My Cultura Podcast and follow me, Chiquis, that's CHIQUIS. For more podcasts from iHeart, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast.